Hello and welcome to Sim.bc, where right now is 17:55, so 5 to the 6 of the evening of the close to 5. Yeah, exactly 5 to 6, where, well, it's yet again one of those days where I haven't eaten anything yet. I know it's bad, it's really bad, but when you wake up late due to, whatever is called summertime, shining time, sun time, whatever, you lose a day in the 24-hour cycles, I'd say. So I was waking up thinking it was 11 o'clock, and it turns out to be 12 o'clock. So all of the things that I had planned for today, I had to mash together and just get it out quickly. And unfortunately, my lunch was kind of the thing that I skipped, which is bad. You shouldn't do that. But unfortunately, when you're stressed and feel the pressure, yet again, something that I've applied to myself, that tends to be what is cut. So keep that in mind if I'm a bit as usual, rather as yesterday. Unfortunately, I can say as usual because this tends to happen. Not a lot that I skip my lunch. That doesn't seem to happen. That doesn't tend to happen. But what tends to happen is that there's something coming up that I can't really, plan for, so to say. There's always something. It seems like it's always something. And, yesterday I launched a kind of an interesting video, the first clickbaity video. I thought it was quite funny. Some people didn't, but, I thought it was quite funny, even though there were some parts that I thought was hilarious, yeah? And some parts which I thought was, not that funny. And unfortunately, all of the cringy parts made me cringe so much that I couldn't really appreciate all of the good jokes that I did. And it was clearly a parody, right, of unboxing and stuff. So if you watch it, mates, just keep that in mind. I'm gonna leave a link to it in the description down below so that you can check it out for yourself. Otherwise, I'd say yesterday's video was quite a nice one, yeah? And yeah, plus I've been sitting in there working with Bixby today, by the way, which is like Samsung's response to Siri. I don't know how long it's existed for, but it's something that I try to use, and I'm so irritated I can't actually make a short command for open Spotify. I mean, it seems to be like I can manually navigate using my voice right when I'm inside of the app, but I can't yet I can make a short command for open Spotify, choose, go to library, go to playlist, go to the playlist that I want, the specific one, and click shuffle play. No, I can't do that for some reason, which pisses me off. And I've been looking through these books today, it's all I do in my free time, in my spare time. When I'm not playing with my phone, when I'm not doing this, I study. Because that's just the life of a student, right? So I'm looking at interesting community favorites, such as business research. Yeah, it just captures your mind now, doesn't it? And statistics for business and economics. Ooh, a real page turner, am I right? Yeah, that's kind of what I have to work with. Now I do that on the phones. Nice. Anyway, mates, that's not why you're here. No, you're here to listen to our project. And I'm not even gonna say sub-project, because we don't have one running as of yet. I think I might have one in the future, yeah. But for now, it's going to be one of those nice standalone videos for once in the project, though. So it's not actually a standalone video, but it's a kind of a semi-standalone video, since it's only part of the project and not a semi-project in the project. You're with me, right? You get what I'm saying. You've been following the project so far, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're new here to Sim.bc, yeah, this is kind of what we do. So we're going to talk about what is evil, as, stated in the title. Read the title before you click the video if you haven't deciphered that for yourself. But that is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what is evil in the context, yeah, not actually the context, but we're going to look at something that's rather abstract yet again. Because, usually when I come up with these kind of topics, I think that usually in the shower or before I'm going to go to bed, before I'm going to sleep, and my brain just runs wild because it can relax and it says, what would be a great topic for conversation? What makes you truly afraid? Because that can be evil. What makes you terrified? That is connected to evil in some way, form, or fashion. And my brain is just like, that is brilliant, my brain, wow, you made it again. And so my entire body is, acts on its own. It takes my phone, it opens the notes, it puts in some notes and says, yeah, I'm gonna talk about this. I transfer all of my notes to my computer, saying that, most of this is gold, right? But then you have some doofies like that, and I'm sitting here looking through the different things I'm gonna talk about today, that I put into my schedule, and I'm just like, what makes you afraid? how did I think there, you know? Unfortunately, you can't just tap into this unlimited potential of the sleepy brain, so to say, whenever you want to. Otherwise, if you could, all of the exams would be... they would be fine. All of the arguments in the world would be settled, would be perfect, mates. It would be such a good world. But unfortunately, that, you know, we can't do that. So, we're going to talk about, and I promise you, we're getting into it, even though I'm stalling because I'm not really sure what it actually is. But we're going to get into what is evil in relation to, yeah, what makes you afraid. And the entire idea behind this, the article that I was reading when I came up with this brilliant idea, so just bear with me, right? Because even I can see that this is a bit of a far-fetch, was that the evil within society is what scares us. Yeah, just let that sink in for a moment. How concrete is that, am I right? I mean, you don't get a more clear-cut answer than that to what is evil. I mean, the evil in society is what scares us. And I was just like sitting there like, huh? Do you have any arguments supporting this? Do you have any evidence? Do you have any findings? Do you have... No, you don't. It's just... your opinion? Okay, I get it. Or at least I can't find the sources that you were using because they weren't, you know, sourced in the end. No reference lists, let's say. Which was a bit bad because I was looking through this and I was like, oh, it's kind of an interesting concept actually. Because if you think about it, what the things you're afraid of is usually, you know, as long as it comes to people, because you can be afraid of heights. That doesn't make heights evil in itself, because this is kind of where this entire argument falls apart, in my opinion. I'm like, well, are heights evil? And the article was basically not taking this up because it was probably such an obvious, what you were saying, argument against their point, so to say. So they didn't tend to bring it up, no matter how nice it is to actually bring up something that's against your argument, meet the criticism, and actually, you know, further the conversation. But it was nothing that they did. So I was sitting there reading and I was like, huh, so how, you know, are heights evil? Are spiders necessarily evil? Aren't they just animals? People are afraid of spiders, doesn't mean that they're evil though, right? But what they were talking about was basically that the people that you're afraid of are evil. Yet again, this comes down to the subjective manner of what everybody else thinks versus what you think, as usual. Because every time that we're talking about, you know, psychological controversies or what is, you know, stuff like what is evil, we come down to your opinion versus everybody else's opinion, yeah? And I know that that might seem like, well, we're at a stalemate, we can't progress further than this. But we actually can, or at least the article was trying to make the point that the people that you're afraid of, that you're really, truly terrified of, and I'm not just talking, you know, I'm afraid to meet this person because, you know, I might be starstruck, right? If Leonardo DiCaprio walked through the door, I might just stand there and be like, I'm afraid of that happening. That's not what they were talking about. What they were talking about was clear cut, I'm afraid of this person. I'm like physically intimidated by this person. Not only because they're tall, or not only because they're short, not only because they're big boned, fat, so to say, not only because they're ripped or really strong, not because, you know, none of these reasons, but because of a psychological reason, they felt a physical intimidation that like an aura around them. And I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, sure. I can really agree with this. But then they came to the conclusion, what I thought was kind of interesting, that these people that you are truly afraid of are the people who sit on, you know, and this was like a very politically tainted source in Swedish that I read, you know, political correctness and all of that, that was just thrown out the window. And they were basically saying that the people that you're truly afraid of are the people that you can't actually influence or control in any way, shape, or fashion. And what is, you know, the thing that you're most afraid of? Well, it's the things that you can't control. What are the things that you can't control that can affect many people? Yet again, this idea of, you know, expense on utilizing or using, somebody has something that they can use that can be in your expense or someone else's expense, and you're afraid of that because that's what's evil. Kind of what we concluded in the 7 Deadly Sins as well. And, well, they came to the conclusion that people that have, like, mass destructive weapons, you know, nuclear bombs, hydrogen bombs, guns, in a way. Everything that just makes you have the power, everything that gives you the power to actually exercise, what should we say? It gives you the power to exercise power over someone else. Do you feel me when I'm saying that? So basically, giving you the power to punish people or to... I don't really know how to phrase that, but you can exercise, anyway, you can exercise power over others. That's basically what they're saying, and if they don't agree with that, well, then you use your leverage, which in this case is like weapons of mass destruction, and just basically force them. Kind of what, a very simplified version, I'd say, of what the US did to Japan during the Second World War, you know, with the bombs, just stating like, you want to go to war? We can go all day, right? Obviously not the entire point of such a long war with many nuances, but that's one way of looking at it. That's really simplified. But yeah, this paper basically came down to the idea that that I also was reflecting on probably when I was asleep. And I actually can't remember because I didn't write that part down. But now, the things that you're truly afraid of is people who have the power to exercise that power over others on the expense of others yet again. And those are the people that you will feel a physical intimidation of if you meet them or if you see them, and you will be like this. It will be a rational fear, so to say. It won't be a phobia, because phobias were quickly discouraged, even though I'd argue that, you know, they still could have taken up, you know, afraid of heights, because that might not be a phobia. That might just be someone who's sane and don't want to jump out of a building, right? I mean, a height is a height. But anyway, that's with the article to do, less with the video to do. But what they basically came to the conclusion was that if you disregard phobia and you take the rational fear of other people, you will feel this rational physical intimidation based on something psychological that they had the action to, you know, that they can utilize something, right? And one can argue that a weapon of mass destruction, which is all it came down to, is kind of a very physical thing, yeah? You can feel physical intimidation by a person who has the access to this, but it was yet again talking about the mindset that they were in, and saying that, well, if you feel this way, and the people that you feel this towards, those people are truly evil, because that's like the epitome of evil. And first of all, actually, even till going into this video, I was thinking like, nah, I can't really agree with that, because I can be afraid of people that are really nice. It's just that, you know, I'm afraid of them, but that doesn't mean that they're actually evil. But then I came to think about it like, wow, the point that they're making is actually that you can exercise, you know, yet again, this exercising power over others, which is, you know, not a good thing, not a good trait, and this, yet again, that you can do things on other people's expense, which we also have concluded quite recently was evil, right? In the context of the 7 deadly sins, something that I could argue, or something that I could agree with, is kind of, yeah, I'm on the long side. I know I'm in the same boat as you are here. And yeah, and then going into this, I was just like, nah, is it really true? But yeah, it actually might be, because yet again, it's based on my opinion of what I'm afraid of, and evil is based on my opinion of what I think is evil. So if I'm really afraid of someone, that's technically saying that in my opinion they're evil. Does that mean that they're objectively evil though? Is there such thing as an objective evil? Find out in the next video. No, but I don't know. But I could say that I'm following the reasoning of this reasoning, and I can say that, well, I can actually tend to agree with that on a personal individual level, not as a generalization, right? But anyway, that was everything for me today, mates. Have a nice one. I'll see you tomorrow, and now I'm going to go and make food. Finally, it's going to be food. Yes. I'm really hungry, needless to say. Have a nice one. I'll see you tomorrow.